back space where the mail bags were put. And there was a post office in every community. So we would stop and the mail van driver would deposit the letters, which meant I saw a lot how we should live this life in the Garden of Eden. They've messed up. He doesn't condemn them immediately. He asks them, what is this thing that you have done? He transitions into the reality of their existence and then works with them. He joins them to shift. And that is what real communication is about. And that is what I believe in. So these are and I saw my mother living it. She was a very loving person. And so these have helped me to evolve my love for communication. This is what communication is. Communication is not the transfer of information. It is the sharing of information for mutual understanding. A lot of us inflict what we want on others without until you've understood the other person. You can never communicate with them. So these informed my wanting to do communication. But then I went further to do communication for developing nations, so that when we are communicating in a country like Ghana or any other African country or a developing nation, we are able to situate it in a manner that resonates with them. This is how come some years ago a multinational company came to Ghana. We did work in a rural community for them, a big corporate. They were so impressed that they asked us to do the same work for low literate populations in all their projects worldwide, because we did it in an empathetic manner. Communication is sweet, especially when you do it not only from your standpoint, but from the standpoint of the other. These are the factors that have enabled me to, to do this work. God sent Jesus Christ to come and be in the lives of the people. And you see, Jesus never even healed anybody by just saying, go and get healed. He will do it on the basis of your belief. So the fact that there's a live and let live in communication is one of the reasons why I guess I have loved this profession so much.
And it's all of these look strategic.
Yes.
You've been strategic from what you've learned from your parents, from your own experiences traveling around with your parents and all of that. And I believe that's what's informed this company that you've been a general over for the past 30 years. I know those experiences are there, but are there other things like books or people outside your immediate family where you've learned any of these nuggets from? Maybe you'd want to share with us.
Yeah, my main book, I don't let me sound preachy, but people read 7-something of leadership from this book. Look, the Bible is a lifestyle book.
So that's your manual?
It's my manual because, I just didn't happen. Even a microwave oven was thought through by somebody and manufactured. And it comes with a manual. And this manual, it's big, 66 books, it's a lot. But the person who created me, knowing that there's so many things around that will distract me, synthesizes the 66 books into 10 commandments and further synthesizes it to love the Lord your God, love the person who gave you this life, and love everybody around you. And what I like is that he doesn't tell me who to love around me, everybody. And he equips me for that. So that is one of the things that has influenced me. Then the schools that I went to, Mofratro in Kumasi.
Okay.
Wow. There I honed my love for gardens. My mother we used to plant most of what we ate. Okay. But in Mofratro, every house had a garden, and we took care of the garden like nobody's business. It was a competition. Every morning we would tend the garden, stand beside it, and wait for inspection. It was nice. So my gardening skills and love for gardening grew at Mofretro, and Mofretro means children's garden.
Yes.
Then, of course, Wesley Girls High School. I mean, for Mofretro, I remember Mrs. Wilberforce, who was my headmistress. Oh, I thought she was strict, but
When you got to Wesley Girls.
no, I thought she was strict, but now I look back and I'm grateful to her. Because no one is watching me, but I do what needs to be done for my own sake. And then Miss Bonsoanane, she was just a mother to all of us. So they influenced me. And then I get to Wesley Girls. Miss Garnett, our headmistress. What amazed me about her and has stayed with me, we would get there as new intakes. And this woman, somehow, I don't know whether she looked at our pictures from common entrance or what, she would welcome you by name.
Every one of you?
Yes.
And how many people were entering school at that time?
At that time, it was 30, about 32, 30, about 96.
So that's still a lot.
Yes. She took, and that taught me that, look, everybody is important. And in my work life, what I have found is that people are not machines. They're human beings before coming to work.
Yeah.
So if you take an interest in who they are and what they do, you also become interesting, and they'll be interested in what they, because sometimes somebody is not delivering, not because they don't know the work, but maybe they're going through something. Then secondly, Miss Garnett, she was very simple, down to earth, and I don't know how she did it. I mean, I learned how to use what was available to me at any time to get the best out of what I wanted. And this was building on what my grandmother taught me, what my mother also taught me. So all these people have influenced me. The other person is Mother Teresa, that little woman. I believe that you become relevant when you serve. Relevance comes from service. You say, I need no introduction. I want to hope that it is because one way or the other I have served society. So if people want to be remembered, my belief is serve. Mother Teresa, she was very tiny, petite, but she served. And I believe when she got into rooms, even kings got up for her. So to be served requires that you serve.
Let me just allow you catch your breath for a bit. Okay. When we return, I want to ask her how she managed to get to the point where today we refer to her as the face of strategic communication. This is the lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back. It's still the lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Eche Atiso. I'm with Esther Koba. Stratcom. That's a name.
Stratcom Africa.
Stratcom Africa. Now that's a short form of Strategic Communications Africa.
Yes.
We did talk about Stratcom in the first part of this interview, but where did you know you wanted to start this? How did this idea come about?
This idea, I guess, was conceived over time and birthed and nurtured to be where it is today. When at some point in my life, I didn't have a job after I finished my master's. And I had 2 little boys. So I was home with them. And I am a firm believer in the devil finds work for idle hands. In fact, I don't idle at all. So what I began to do was to look around for situations and issues that could be addressed using communication as a tool, or whose management could be facilitated using communication as a tool. So I started writing anything I saw around. Filthy gutters, I would start writing. Young people who are doing I would start writing. So I wrote a lot of proposals and strategies, you know, fresh from school was in my mind. And at a certain point, I knew that I would do something with it. But then I went to work elsewhere and all that. But what really in the end propelled me was when I found young people with no jobs. And I thought, I have all these proposals, these young people are jobless, they could use this if they wanted to. So I brought the two together, and I, at that time, had a whiteboard, and I taught them communication. I mean, for me, it was exciting. I think, did I know what I was doing? I was just being me. Okay. So over time, it became like a social enterprise, because I, on the one hand, wanted to use communication as a tool for community development and individual livelihood enhancement, but also to help organizations to become more profitable, because I felt that sometimes they were not communicating enough. And then, for instance, where organizations find themselves in communities, especially extractive industry organizations, and there's conflict and the community ends up not benefiting adequately from the presence of the company is not selling itself well. So I put all those things together. So I set up something that would help do all this. Initially, it was Center for Development and Intercultural Communication, long name, very academic, CEDIC. But over time, I realized that what I was doing was just using strategic thinking, helping organizations, people with their strategic goals, realizing their strategic goals, using communication strategically. And therefore, I decided to change the name from CEDIC to Strategic Communications Africa Limited. And the CEDIC then became an NGO supported by Stratcom Africa.
So that's still in existence?
It is.
But not
as, yeah, at first, when I started every Wednesday evening, I'd go to Nima and Mamobi to train young people there. I trained them in how to use their skills to communicate. So we wouldn't bring people from outside to come and communicate to them about drug abuse or teenage pregnancy or, you know, anything. We would use people from the environment. I did a lot in parent-child communication. So every Wednesday evening at 4:30, I would leave the office and go there. And I worked with a group called Perfect Stars. We used dance drama, we used poetry, we used art, puppets, and all that. In fact, at the IPR launch of its 50th anniversary, some of them came to perform there. So that's how it started. And I mean, the development needs of Africa, the profitability requirements of organizations cannot be planned and executed in an ad hoc manner. It has to be done strategically, systematically, coherently, and consistently. And that is what I believe in. I'm a very structured mind, but I'm not a pure scientist. I'm a social scientist. And people think that people who do social science can be haphazard. No.